Well, both Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are addressing this recent issue, the police-involved shootings we have seen not just in Charlotte, but also Tulsa, Oklahoma. Here's Donald Trump just a short time ago. Watch him.
American in our country is entitled to live in a safe community. The violence against our citizens and our law enforcement must be brought to a very rapid end.
Mrs. Clinton's response sounding just a little bit different. Listen.
There is still much we don't know about what happened in both incidents, but we do know that we have 2 more names to add to a list of African Americans killed by police officers in these encounters. It's unbearable, and it needs to become intolerable.
So, how exactly should cops react to this? I mean, what do they do if they're confronted by an armed suspect who poses a real threat? Do they stand by and just allow that threat to exist and potentially see themselves dead as a result of it? And others? Ford O'Connell, John Rowley, back with me now. I mean, John, what happened to, all of us getting along together? Everything that Obama had promised. Here we are seeing a complete breakdown in racial tensions right now. They have escalated to a point that really, I don't think we have seen since the 1960s, where you get riots and tear gas and people being killed in the streets. John, what's the answer here?
Well, it's tough. I don't see how you can lay it at the feet of the president from a federal policymaking standpoint. But I mean, on one hand, you have a lot of people in the African-American community who've seen some just kind of unforgivable things happen. And then on the other side, the overwhelming majority of police officers that are trying to do their job now have this double pressure, not only of using excessive violence and being sensitive about that, but also we've had these police shootings on the other side to where their own safety and the safety of their comrades. And so we're going to have a deep policy dive on this once we get through the presidential election.
Yeah, but I don't feel like we're not having that right now. It's as though these candidates, specifically Hillary Clinton, as you look at her, and she's trying to recruit African Americans to her side. She's trying to basically incite some of this forward by saying, look, it's the police officer's fault. When,
I don't agree
certainly
that she was inciting,
in this particular case, as we look at it there in Charlotte, I mean, you had a black officer shooting at a man. So Ford, I hate to see these incidents being used for political purposes, but it certainly feels as though that's what's happening these days.
Well, it is irresponsible to speculate on what happened. We just don't know, but that's never going to stop politicians from trying to use it for political gain. Clearly, she's struggling with the black community. We know she's going to win the black community over. We don't know by how much they're going to actually turn out. So she's stoking the flames. It's pretty ridiculous to say all police shootings are intolerable because there may be actually a righteous shooting. And right now the cops have an optics problem, and she's playing on it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's not accurate though to say she's stoking the flames. He's the one that came out pushing stop and frisk. I mean,
these are two separate.
I mean, why do we have to wade into that? Stop and frisk.
No, wait a minute. I'll tell you exactly.
It's a huge problem.
It did work in New York, by the way.
Let me tell you this. Stop and frisk is something that actually helps affluent suburban voters who Trump is struggling with actually feel comfort and be concerned about the safety of their community, particularly
I'm more concerned about the people that it's going to impact from a police
Unfortunately, guys, I got to leave it there. Thank you, as always, Ford and John.